organs. Are you able to see the screen? Is it visible to all? Is it visible to all?
No, sir.
Not visible. Okay. So today I will go through the female genital organs, and these female genital organs, they are mainly consisted of there are 5 parts of the female genital organs. So first one is the ovary. Ovary is responsible for production of the ovum and by the process of oogenesis. In case of the male, the process was spermatogenesis. Here, this process is called as oogenesis. Okay. So by the process of oogenesis, there is formation of the ovary, and by the process of the oogenesis, there is formation of the ovum from the ovary. Okay, and this ovum fuse with the sperm to form a zygote that I will tell you later. So first organ is the ovary, then second is the oviduct. Okay, so the produced ovum from the ovary, it is usually released into the oviduct, and this oviduct is also called as uterine duct or fallopian tube. Okay, this is site for the fertilization. Fertilization is the fusion of the pronuclei of the male and female gametes, that is ovum and the spermatozoa. Then third part is the uterus, and this uterus is, I already told you that this part is for the fertilization. Okay, this part is for the fertilization. Then uterus is a larger part of the main part of the female genital organ. It mainly consists of uterus, and this uterus is mainly for the implantation of the implantation. Okay, what is going to be implanted here is there is a blastocyst. So when I will start embryology, I will explain you. So this is for the implantation. Okay, implantation means in the uterine wall, the blastocyst usually engulfed by the uterine layers. This uterus is usually consists of 3 parts. One is the horn, that is called a uterine horn. Actually, the shape of the uterus is like this. So there are 2 horns on the either side, right and left horn. Then there is body of the uterus, and the dilated part of the uterus. Here will be the dilated part of the uterus, and this is called as cervix. Cervix is the most dilated part of the uterus. Then this cervix, it will continue with the vagina, and up to the vagina, the ovary, then the oviduct, then the uterus and the vagina. These are the internal organs, means you will not able to see these organs from the outside. However, the last part, that is called as vulva, this can be seen from the external aspect. Okay, this can be seen from the external aspect also. So these are the 5 important component of the female genital organs. So one by one, I will explain it. So first you can see here, this is the diagrammatic representation, and this diagram is showing, you can see here, so these are the oviduct, and from the oviduct there is attachment of the ovary. Actually ovary will be here, it's not clearly visible. Then these are the uterine horns, this is the uterine body, and inside you can see this is a dilated part, this is the cervix, and this part is the vagina, and externally you can see this part is the vulva. Then you can see here, in many books you will find this diagram. So you can see here, these are the oval, so they are the ovary, and their main function is to produce the ovum by the process of oogenesis, and the produced ovum is secreted into the connected. There is one fabricated part of the uterine tube, so it will be released here. So this hole is the oviduct, that is site for the fertilization in case of the females, fertilization. Then this, the last part of the oviduct, it is connected with the uterine horn. So these are the uterine horn, and this is the body of the uterus, and here is dilated part, that is cervix, and this is the vagina, and externally you can see the vulva. Then ovary, as you know, all the organs of the which are present in the abdominal cavity and the pelvic cavity, they are covered with the peritoneal covering. Peritoneum is the covering which is present in the abdominal as well as pelvic cavity, and they surround all the organs which are present in the male and female genital organs. So the ovary, you can see here, this is the ovary, and this is the uterus and all. So the ovary and uterus, they are connected with the peritoneal covering, that in together it is called as broad ligament. I will explain you further on. This is very, very important, broad ligament. Then each and individual part, like the ovary is connected with the part of the broad ligament, then oviduct is connected with the part of the broad ligament, and the uterus is connected with the part of the broad ligament. So broad ligament, you can divide, this whole is the broad ligament. Whatever is present here, this is the broad ligament. Broad ligament is the covering of the peritoneum that covers the ovary, oviduct, and the uterus together. That is called as broad ligament. But the individually, the ovary is connected with the fold of the peritoneum or the broad ligament is called as mesoovarium. The oviduct, which is connected with the part of the peritoneum or fold of the peritoneum, is called as mesosalpinx, and the part of the broad ligament which covers the uterus, that is called as mesometrium. So you can simply say that altogether the fold of the peritoneum is called as broad ligament, but yes, they are late now, that's why they are late. Now it's all are in my portfolio, that is okay. So altogether, I already told you that altogether this covering is called as broad ligament, and the broad ligament you can classify into three parts. One covers the ovary, and one covers the oviduct, and one covers the
slides are not visible.
Uterus. Now visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the broad ligament you can divide into three different parts. So broad ligament is altogether a peritoneal covering that covers the ovary, oviduct, and uterus. So first part you can say that the part of the broad ligament or the peritoneum that covers the ovary, this is called as mesoovarium. The second part that covers the oviduct, this is called as mesosalpinx, and last part that covers the whole uterus, that is called as mesometrium. So this is very, very important. The fold of the peritoneum that covers the ovary, oviduct, and uterus all together, that fold is called as broad ligament. However, individually the ovary is covered with the mesoovarium, the oviduct is covered with the mesosalpinx, and the uterus is covered with the mesometrium. Then ovary. So ovary are the two small oval glands, and the main function of the ovary is to produce the ova by the process of oogenesis. And these ovaries are situated in the pelvic inlet. And the ovary, they are attached to the lateral abdominal wall by cranial part of the broad ligament. I already told you they are connected with the part of the broad ligament of the uterus that is called as mesoovarium. This is very, very important. The ovary, they remain in its position by attached themselves to the lateral abdominal wall by the cranial part of the broad ligament that is called as mesoovarium. Each ovary is consist of, they are usually 3 to 4 centimeter in long and 2 to 3 centimeter wide, and also 1 to 2 centimeter thick. And the weight of these ovaries in case of the, this is in case of the, I'm telling in case of the cow. So they weighs about 15 to 20 gram, and the size and shape of the ovary are usually affected by age and the ovarian follicle, because when there is development phase, okay, so up to the maturity, the size of the ovary may be varies. Then the ovary usually consists of 2 surfaces. This is very, very important. 2 borders and the 2 extremities. Okay, so the surfaces, suppose this is the ovary. So the surfaces will be on the either side, and these surfaces are the, one is the medial surface, and in other surface that is the lateral surface. And both surfaces are smooth and rounded. There is no other structure is present. Only there are 2 surfaces on the ovary that is called as medial and lateral surfaces, and these surfaces are smooth and rounded. And there are 2 borders, as I already told you. There are 2 borders. So these borders are, you can see here, one is called as cranial border and one is called as caudal border, or you can see here, this is cranial border and this is caudal border. So the these are 2 extremities. Okay, these 2 are the extremities. This is the cranial extremity and this is the caudal extremity. Okay, so you can see this is the cranial extremity and this is caudal extremity. Borders are these 2. One is the mesoovarian border and one is the free border. Again, I am repeating. Sorry for wrong words. There are 2 surfaces. One is the medial surface, one is the lateral surface, and both surfaces are smooth and rounded. Then there are 2 extremities. One is the cranial extremity and one is the caudal extremity. And this cranial extremity, you can see here, this cranial extremity is rounded and is related to the, here is the fimbriated end of the fallopian tube. And fallopian tube, as you know, these are also called as the uterine tube, or okay, these are uterine tubes, fallopian tube. Okay. Then this cranial extremity is rounded and attached to the fimbriated part of the fallopian tube. So this fimbriated part usually collects the released ova from the ovary, and it will travel into the oviduct, and that is site for the fertilization in case of the females. Now you can see here in the caudal part, you will see 1 ligament here. Okay, so this 1 ligament, it usually connects to the uterus. Okay, so it remains the ovary in its position, and this ligament is called as ovarian ligament. This ligament is called as ovarian ligament. So cranial part of the ovary, it is attached to the fimbriated part, and the caudal part is usually attached to by the ovarian ligament to the uterus. Along with it, there are 2 borders. So you can see here, this one is the 1 border and this is the 1 border. So over this border is called as free border, means there is no attachment. This remains free. However, the above border, it is attached with the part of the broad ligament that is called as mesoovarium. Okay, so this is about the ovary. So ovary consists of 2 surfaces. These are the medial and lateral surfaces, 2 borders, and these borders are the mesoovarian border and the free border, and 2 extremities, and these extremities are the cranial and the caudal extremity. Then what are, you can see, I already explained this thing in the previous slide. So there are 2 surfaces, and these surfaces are the medial and the lateral surfaces on the either side of the ovary, and these surfaces are smooth and rounded. Borders, I already told you, there are two borders, meso-ovarian border and the free border, and two extremities as a cranial and caudal extremity. Then what are the different what are the some species differences in case of the other female animals? So in case of the mare, that is mare, female horse, so the ovary are bean shaped, and very, very important is they bear a fossa here. That fossa is not present in case of the cow or in case of the other ruminants. This fossa is only present in case of the mare. This fossa is called as ovulation fossa, and this ovulation fossa is present toward the free border. So this ovulation fossa is important for the ovulation. Okay, ovulation is releasing of the ovum from the ovary. Okay, so this ovulation fossa is only present in case of the mare. And in case of the bitch, very, very important, and the ovaries are small and elongated and flattened, and these ovaries are situated behind the caudal pole of the kidney. You can see these ovaries are situated behind the caudal pole. This is the caudal pole of the kidney. And very, very important, like in case of the mare, there was ovulation fossa. Here is a structure that is called as peritoneal pouch. Okay, so these ovaries are concealed into a peritoneal pouch. So this peritoneal pouch is called as ovarian bursa. This is very, very important. So these peritoneal pouch, which is present towards the whole ovaries, they are connected with a pouch that is called as peritoneal pouch, that is called as ovarian bursa. Ovarian bursa. So this ovarian bursa or peritoneal pouch is only present in case of the bitch, and this question is very, very important. Many times it came in exam as an objective type of the question, that ovarian bursa is related to with which animal. Then very important in case of the birds. In case of the birds, only the left ovary is functional. Okay, right ovary is rudimentary. Okay, and the left ovary is situated in the dorsal part of the abdominal cavity and attached to the dorsal wall below the last two ribs. So you can see here, these are the ovary, and the ovary in case of the bird, very, very important is the shape of the ovary is they are present in the bunches of grapes. Okay, they are present in the bunches of grapes, and this is very, very important, that right ovary is rudimentary, only the left one is the functional. Okay, you can see here, these are the ovary of the birds. So they are present in the bunch of grapes. Okay, this is also important. It may also come that bunches of the grapes, the ovary which is present in the bunches of the grapes is characteristic feature in case of the which animal. The next structure is the oviduct. So the oviduct is also called as the uterine or the fallopian tube, and it is site for the fertilization. It usually collects the cranial part of the oviduct. It usually collects the released ovum from the ovary, that is fimbriated part, I already told you. And it is also site for the fertilization, and they are paired, means on the right and left side they will be present. And I already told you that function is receive and transport the ova to the uterus. Okay, and each oviduct is 20 to 25 centimeter long, and it extends from the cranial extremity of the ovary to the extremity of the uterine horn. Okay, so these are the tubes which are present from the ovary to the uterine horns. You can see here, this is clear-cut diagram. So this is the ovary, and through the ovary, this is the fimbriated part of the oviduct, and this hole is the uterine tube or fallopian tube or the oviduct, and here it is connected with the ovary, and here it is connected with the uterine horn. So this is present in between the ovary and the uterine horns. Then I already told you that the peritoneal covering or the part of the broad ligament that covers the whole oviduct is called as mesosalpinx. Okay, so you can see here the ovarian end of this fellow oviduct is fimbriated, and this fimbriated part will remain in contact with the ovary. That this fimbriated part usually collects the ovum, which is released from the ovary. And the uterine end, you can see here, this uterine end usually opens into the horn of the uterus. Okay, and usually it is almost same in the diameter. There is no variation in the diameter. But important thing is the peritoneal covering is the mesosalpinx. So what are the different part of the oviduct? The oviduct, the first part of the oviduct is called as infundibulum, that receives the ovum or oocyte after ovulation. You can see here this part, number one, this is the infundibulum, and it usually consists of a fimbriated part. Okay, the fimbriated part or fimbria means that there is numerous diverging processes. Okay, this part will be like this. There are numerous diverging processes. So this is unique characteristic feature in case of the infundibulum. Then second part is the ampulla, and this ampulla is the site for fertilization, where the male and female gametes comes together, and their pronuclei fuse together to form a zygote. And the ovum remains in this part for a few days and transported to the uterine horn through a more narrower and more convoluted distal part. Okay, here you can see here, that is uterine. Okay, that is ampulla. And last part is the isthmus. Okay, and this isthmus is usually connected with, you can see here, this part is the isthmus, and this isthmus is connected with the uterine horn. So whatever the fertilized ovum, whatever the fertilized ovum, it will go into the uterine horn, then there will be implantation and all. Okay, so I already told you that this is the this part is the infundibulum, then ampulla, and here is the isthmus. And there is one opening, small opening here. This opening is called as uterine ostium. Over the uterine horn, that opening is called as uterine ostium, or it is also called as ostium uterinum tubae. Ostium uterinum tubae. You can see here. So this is the ovary, and here is the fimbriated part of the infundibulum, and here this part is the ampulla, and this part is the isthmus. And here I already told you that there is one small opening that connects the oviduct or the fallopian tube with the horn of the uterus. That opening is called as ostium uterinum tubae. Then what is the species differences? In case of the male, the important thing is, in case of the male, it is 20 to 25 centimeter long, but more flexuous. It is more flexuous as compared to the other animals. In case of the sow, it is less flexuous. Flexuous means this type of the structure. Then in case of the birds. So in case of the birds, very, very important, the oviduct or the oviduct, it usually consists of 5 parts. Okay, so there is oviduct that consists of 5 parts. You can see here, these are the ovaries. They are present in the form of bunches of grapes, and remaining part is the oviduct. So there is 2 structure in the reproductive tract of the birds, that is ovary and oviduct. And as you know, only the left oviduct is developed, because the right ovary, the Right ovary is rudimentary, so there is no much development of the oviduct. However, only left oviduct is developed. So it is dilated and it is about 80 centimeter in the length in the laying hen or laying birds. Okay, so it consists of 5 parts as a number 1 is the infundibulum, then number 2 is the magnum, number 3 is the isthmus, number 4 is the uterus, that is also called as shell glands, or number 5 is the vagina. So in case of the birds, the female reproductive tract is only consists of ovary and oviduct, and the oviduct consists of 5 parts as infundibulum, magnum, isthmus, uterus, which is also called as shell gland, and vagina. So first part is the infundibulum. So this infundibulum is the funnel shaped structure with delicate walls, and the neck is narrow, around 2 to 3 centimeter long, and the function of this infundibulum is to collect the ovum as ovum is released from the ovary. Okay, so this infundibulum will collect the ovum. Then the magnum. So this part is the magnum, and this magnum, or it is also called as, it secretes the albumin. Okay, this magnum usually secretes the albumin. Okay, so it is also called as albumin secreting part, and it forms the major part of the oviduct, and this part usually 40 centimeter in the length. This part is 40 centimeter in the length and is made up of thick walls, and it secretes about 40% of the albumin of the total egg. The total egg albumin is 40% of the total egg albumin is secreted by the magnum. So second part of the oviduct in case of the birds is magnum. Then the third part is the isthmus, and it is 12 centimeter in long. This is the isthmus, and this is 12 centimeter in the long, and this connects the magnum and along with the uterus. It is connected with the magnum and the uterus, and it also secretes some part of the albumin along with the shell membrane. Okay, so here is the important thing is it secretes the shell membrane along with the albumin. So majority of the part of the albumin, it is secreted by the magnum. However, some part of the albumin, it is also secreted by the isthmus. However, the main component that is secreted by the isthmus is the shell membrane. Then number 4, the number 4 is the uterus. You can see here, this is the uterus, and this uterus is also called as shell gland, and it is wide and about 12 centimeter long, and the function of this uterus is to secrete the remaining 40% amount of the albumin. Okay, so 40% amount of the albumin, it is secreted by the uterus, and 40% amount of the albumin, it is secreted by the magnum, and remaining part of the albumin, it is secreted by the, it is produced by the isthmus. Along with the formation of the albumin, this uterus is also important to form the shell. Okay, shell. Okay, so shell, you know, the egg is covered with the shell, so it is usually called as shell gland. So this is very, very important. The last part is the vagina, and this vagina is 12 centimeter long, and the walls of the vagina are very muscular, and the vagina is usually terminates into the cloaca. Okay, it usually terminates in the cloaca, and I already told you that cloaca consists of 3 parts as a proctodium, urodium, and coprodium. So the function of the vagina is to release the produce egg into the cloaca that will be come out from the body of the female genital or the female animals. Then you can see here, I already told you about these structures. That first structure is the infundibulum, then magnum, then isthmus, then uterus, and the vagina. And the vagina is connected with the cloaca. Then next is uterus. Okay, this uterus I will cover in next class. If you have any doubt, you can ask from me. In next class, I will complete the female genital organs. If you have any doubt up to here, you can ask from me. In next class, I will complete the female genital organs. Yes, please. Anything you want to ask?
Sir, can you please repeat the parts of oviduct of bird?
Yes, I will. Yeah, you can see here. So the bird female genital tract is consist of only major two parts, that is ovary and the oviduct. Okay, and this oviduct usually consists of 5 parts. So first one is the infundibulum, second one is the magnum, third one is the isthmus, fourth one is the uterus, that is also called a shell gland, and fifth one is the vagina. Anything you want to ask in this one? Or I have to repeat everything?
No, sir.
Anything?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, could you please explain the ovarian bursa, sir?
What?
Sir, the ovarian bursa.
Oh, bursa fabricius.
Yes, sir.
That will be covered. I will cover it when I will go through the various part of the cloaca. Okay, or maybe it will be taken by, Arup sir also, because this bursa fabricius is also related with the formation of that. It is a lymphoid organ actually. Okay, T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte, that is for the immunity and all. So maybe this part will be covered by, I don't think so. He will take in detail, I think. Or I will tell you, no problem. I will tell you in next class. I will give you some brief outline about the structures. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you, sir.
Where is Shekhar? Shekhar, how was your examination? I think he put the phone on hold and is wandering here and there. Shekhar, are you hearing me? He's not here. Okay, then thank you for hearing me, listening me. Good day.
Thank you, sir.
Next class I will complete it, and from Monday I will start the embryology. Okay. Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.